if I show up at your door, chances are you did something to bring me there. It's not me. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Cinema Night Essential. It's your buddy Chris here, and today I'm going to be talking about Grosse Pointe Blank. Now, this is an action romantic comedy that's directed by George Armitage, who gave me one of my absolute favorite movies, Miami Blues, which stars Alec Baldwin, Fred Ward, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. If you've never seen Miami Blues, highly recommend checking that out. It's a very good one. So, with Grosse Pointe Blank, we have John Cusack, who stars as Martin Blank, who is an assassin who begins to develop a conscience and a newfound respect for life. And so he gets a letter from his secretary about an upcoming reunion, which coincidentally there's a job he has to do in Detroit, which is where he's from. And so he decides to go there. And he decides he wants to attend his reunion, and he winds up running into his prom date, played by Minnie Driver, which he actually stood up 10 years earlier, which he explains later on as to why he did that. And when he reunites with her, it's very odd. In the middle of doing this one last job, he at least he thinks he's wanting to do anyway. He's trying to rekindle this relationship that he had with her 10 years ago, which, of course, he's not going to find it's going to be very easy. And it's understandable. It's funny whenever they reunite and they meet each other. It's just the reaction she has. At the same time, he hears that somebody is trying to kill him. So this entire time, he's pretty much walking around with this kind of paranoid sense, and he's always looking behind his shoulder every 2 minutes, which is smart. You don't, when you feel like somebody is trying to kill you, you keep looking, keep looking around, and you're cautious as to whoever you run into. At the same time, he has this kind of this antagonistic relationship with Grocer, played by Dan Aykroyd, who is basically a rival assassin who's trying to get him to join this union. And of course, Blank refuses to do that because he wants to work. He likes to work alone. He don't like to work with other people because whenever you get into working relationships, and especially in the assassin business, shit can go south, and it's not going to be really good for you. You can wind up dead, which, unfortunately, because Martin refuses to join his little union, basically, Grocer wants to kill him too. So he kind of has the idea that, he's trying to kill him. He basically gets that idea he's trying to kill him too. And I didn't realize it. I didn't think anything about it until I just watched it a few minutes ago. But I began to compare this antagonistic relationship between Blank and Grocer to John Travolta and Christian Slater in Broken Arrow. They kind of had that same kind of relationship where they appear like they're friends, but they're really kind of arch enemies. And that's the way kind of John Cusack and Dan Aykroyd are, in a way. Not exactly the same way, but that it's pretty similar. And I didn't think about that until earlier. So I thought it was kind of cool. Grocer, Dan Aykroyd has this kind of almost the same kind of haircut too as John Travolta, much like Henry Cavill did in Argyle. So I thought that was kind of crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much the basic plot of this movie. And like I said, it's an action comedy, and it mixes a little romantic comedy in there as well, with this relationship between Martin Blank and Minnie Driver that he tries to get rekindled here. And he realizes it's not as easy as it looks. But I love this movie. There is nothing about this movie that I find negative. I love it. John Cusack gives an excellent performance in this movie with his little paranoid, his paranoid mannerisms, and how he just his facial expressions and how he reacts and everything. It's great. His chemistry with Minnie Driver is great. I love that. You really care about you care about this couple. It's convincing. You want them to get back together. You want them to make it out alive. Also, I love Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd makes a great villain in this movie. I wish he had more screen time. If there was a negative, that's one thing I think is kind of missing. I wish that Dan Aykroyd had more screen time. He didn't have a lot. He shows up at the very beginning, and then like sort of in the middle, when he talks to these two FBI guys that he actually kind of hired to kill Martin, but they failed to do that, which is why they get killed later on in the movie. Get killed in the third act. And then he has a conversation in a diner with Martin, which is one of the funniest scenes in the movie. This little conversation they have, they're like really kind of paranoid. They're pretty much on guard against each other. They have like these paper bags and their guns in there, and they're just having this whole conversation, talking about the past and everything. And it's very funny. And then the final act, basically, when the final showdown, the shootout, and the action scenes are really good in there. There's not a lot of them, but when those action scenes are occurring, they're terrific. There's a great shootout in a convenience store with John Cusack and one of these hitmen that are trying to kill him. The shootout in her dad's house, the final act from that. Very good movie and a great soundtrack too. It's a very memorable soundtrack. You have, I Can See Clearly Now at the very beginning. There's Blister in the Sun a couple of times, 2 or 3 times throughout the movie. And then of course during the reunion you have just a whole shitload of 80s songs, 99 Red Balloons. There's Whip It. Take on Me, just a lot of great songs in here, and it's just a great soundtrack. I love it. I love this movie. I think this movie is actually really underrated because nobody ever talks about it. But I think it's one of John Cusack's best performances. One of Dan Aykroyd's great performances. Just one of the best action comedies out there. The best action romantic comedy, I think, in my opinion. I love it. I think George Armitage did a really good job. I love Miami Blues. But yeah, great movie. If you've never seen Grosse Pointe Blank, I highly recommend checking it out. That's just my thoughts on Grosse Pointe Blank. I know this is kind of a random review. I know this came out of nowhere, but for some reason, I wanted to watch it, and I wanted to talk about it. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this, hit the like button. Also, subscribe if you haven't already for more content as I upload it. Also, follow me at Criticless. I'll have a link for that down below in the description. I have about 100 reviews on there, including this one. Go through those, check out those reviews. If you like any of those and you want me to do a review on any of those movies, let me know in the comments down below. Once again, I love you guys. You guys are the best, and I'll see you in the next one.